You know the world's deadliest seas by name, but what you don't know is how the North Sea alone has swallowed 25,000 ships, yes, so sometimes without warning, beneath storms that build 30-meter giants in less than an hour. From phantom vanishings in the Dragon's Triangle to the Tasman's routine monster waves, these 7 oceans kill thousands every year. What secret forces turn these waters into traps, and could the next disaster strike before any warning? In the North Sea, disaster can strike before a warning bell sounds. On March 27, 1980, the Alexander L. Keeland oil rig, engineered from steel, anchored by modern technology, suddenly began to tilt as a violent storm swept in. Within minutes, a loud crack echoed through the platform. A single support brace, weakened by a hidden fatigue fracture, gave way. The rig capsized, plunging 212 workers into chaos. Waves, some reaching nearly 25 meters, taller than an 8-story building, broke over the twisted metal. Survivors later described the panic: water rushing through shattered windows, alarms drowned out by the roar of the sea, men scrambling for lifeboats that were torn away before they could be launched. Only 89 made it out alive. The North Sea's shallow depths amplify storm energy, turning moderate winds into towering waves with terrifying speed. Even steel platforms designed to withstand the worst fail here, swallowed whole by the sea's fury. Over 5 centuries, more than 25,000 ships have vanished beneath these waters, their wrecks still discovered by trawlers and survey teams today. In the North Sea, survival depends on luck as much as skill. The countdown of the world's deadliest seas begins with terror that feels almost routine here. South of Japan, the sea turns silent and strange. In 1952, the Kaiyo Maru No. 5, a Japanese research vessel, set out to study underwater volcanoes in the Dragon's Triangle. 31 crew members sent their last radio message describing violent tremors and a wall of white water. Then, nothing. Search planes and ships found no wreckage, just a haze of steam rising from the surface, as nearby fishermen later recalled. More than 100 ships and aircraft have vanished in this zone since 1950, often without a trace or warning storm. Scientists point to the seabed's restless geology. Submarine volcanoes can erupt with no signal, blasting columns of gas and water that swallow vessels in seconds. Methane hydrates trapped in the ocean floor can suddenly release, turning dense seawater into a foaming trap that sinks even large ships. One fishing captain remembers seeing the water boil and hiss, then explode upward as if the sea itself was alive. Official Japanese Coast Guard charts now mark these waters as an extreme hazard, and the disappearances continue, shrouded in both science and legend. December 27, 1998. The fleet of the Sydney-Hobart yacht race cuts south from Australia, chasing blue water and glory. By midnight, the barometer falls 29 millibars in just 2 hours, a sign that every sailor dreads. On the horizon, a black wall builds. Within minutes, the Tasman Sea unleashes its fury. Winds roar past 110 kilometers per hour. Waves tower 15 to 20 meters, rolling in from every direction, colliding with the eastward pull of the East Australian current. Yachts vanish behind crests as tall as 10-story buildings. Skippers scramble to decide, turn into the waves, or run with them and risk a broach. Some deploy sea anchors, hoping to ride out the chaos. Others are flipped end over end. 6 boats sink, 5 sailors die, 50 are rescued by helicopter, plucked from overturned hulls, or clinging to life rafts in water cold enough to sap strength in minutes. Survivors remember the sound, a low, endless thunder as each wave crashed down, blotting out the sky. In the Tasman, these weather bombs can form in hours, outpacing every warning system. Even modern hulls and satellite communications offer little comfort. Here, the sea builds its own rules, and every race is a wager against forces no skipper can truly predict. Cape Horn sits at the edge of the world, but the Drake Passage beyond it is where the ocean's true violence is unleashed. Here, The Antarctic circumpolar current barrels eastward, carrying more water than any other current on Earth, its force unchecked by any land. Winds roar at over 100 kilometers per hour, driving waves that can rise higher than a house and break with the weight of concrete. The water temperature hovers just above freezing, 2 degrees Celsius, cold enough to kill a man in minutes. In 1916, Ernest Shackleton and 5 companions set out in a 22-foot lifeboat to cross these waters. Their only hope of rescue lay across 800 kilometers of open sea. Shackleton's diary entries, now preserved in the Royal Geographical Society, describe the ordeal. The little boat was flung about like a toy. The ocean transformed into a living hell. Salt spray froze on their oilskins, turning every movement into agony. For 2 weeks, they bailed water, fought exhaustion, and watched as waves crashed over the bow, threatening to swamp them at any moment. One crewman later wrote that the cold crept into the soul. Modern ships fare little better. Even today, cruise liners and icebreakers wait for rare lulls, weather windows that might last only hours. Pitch and roll can reach 45 degrees, sending furniture and crew flying. Each year, at least 15 to 40 mariners are lost to these waters, scientists, sailors, and fishermen alike. The Drake Passage demands everything from those who cross it: endurance, luck, and respect for a sea where the cold itself is an enemy, and the next wave may be your last. South of Iceland, the Irminger Sea waits with dangers most sailors only read about in training manuals. On a winter night, a research vessel out of Reykjavik logged wind speeds, climbing past 90 kilometers per hour. The crew, veterans of North Atlantic storms, watched radar as 2 converging currents collided just ahead, one flowing from the Greenland coast, the other racing east from deeper waters. Then, without warning, the horizon vanished. A single wave, later measured at nearly 23 meters, struck the starboard side like a steel wall. Deck containers, each weighing a ton, snapped their moorings and crashed across the ship. A crew member described the impact. "It felt like the ocean had picked us up and tried to fold us in half." Rogue waves in the Irminger are not theoretical. They are recorded on scientific instruments and etched into the battered hulls of ships that survive. The sea's unique geography funnels the Irminger current against the cold East Greenland current, especially during winter cyclones. When hurricane-force winds oppose these flows, the energy stacks up, creating freak waves that can rise 2 or 3 times higher than anything forecasted. Each year, 5 to 10 ships are lost in these waters, many without a single distress call making it out. Oceanographers have retrieved steel mooring balls, twisted like soda cans, from the aftermath. For modern crews, the Irminger's invisible hammer can strike at any moment, testing the limits of engineering and human nerve. The next sea on this list brings a new kind of peril, one driven not by nature's violence, but by human hands. 90,000 ships squeeze through the Strait of Malacca each year, funneled into a corridor just 2.8 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. Here, the threat doesn't come from the sea itself, but from the shadows, pirates and speedboats, watching and waiting. In June 2015, the MT Orcam Harmony, a Malaysian tanker, was boarded by 8 armed men under cover of darkness. The crew of 22 was forced at gunpoint to reroute the vessel and shut down communications. For a week, they lived with rifles pressed to their heads, listening to hurried footsteps on steel decks and whispered threats in the darkness. Regional navies tried to intervene, but the pirates jammed signals and vanished into the night. With over 150 attacks reported annually, and ships moving nose to tail, even a moment's distraction can mean collision or capture. The Strait of Malacca is a gauntlet, where the greatest risk comes from human hands and where every transit is a gamble with fate. Night falls over the Red Sea, and a ferry named Salem Express steams towards Safaga with families and workers returning home. Just before midnight, the hull strikes an uncharted coral reef. No warning, only a violent shudder. Water pours in through the torn metal. In less than 20 minutes, the ship is gone. Over 470 lives are lost, many trapped below decks, their escape blocked by twisted corridors and rising water. Survivors recall the heat, the darkness, and the screams echoing through flooded passageways. The Red Sea's surface can reach over 30 degrees Celsius, but beneath, razor-sharp coral reefs lurk in silence, waiting for the next vessel to stray off course. Charts reveal a graveyard stretching back centuries, wrecks from the pharaohs to modern ferries, each claimed by hidden reefs and shifting currents. For those who make it out alive, the memory is a wound that never heals. The Red Sea keeps its secrets, holding fast to the bones of the lost. Every year, an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 lives are lost across these 7 seas, despite the advances in navigation and ship design documented since the 19th century. From the North Sea's 25,000 recorded shipwrecks to the over 100 disappearances in the Dragon's Triangle, the evidence reveals that nature's power, human conflict, and hidden hazards still challenge even the most prepared crews. While scientists have mapped rogue wave zones and piracy incidents are tracked by the International Maritime Bureau, mysteries, such as the precise causes of vanishings in the Devil's Sea, remain unsolved. Survivor testimonies and official disaster reports confirm that no technology can eliminate all risk, especially as climate change is increasing the severity of storms and altering current patterns. The records show that whether through sudden weather, unpredictable currents, or human threats, these deadly waters continue to demand respect. For sailors and scientists alike, the ultimate truth is clear: on the world's deadliest seas, danger has never been fully tamed.